Hello everybody, today we're gonna be looking at a substance painter tutorial for Farm Sim. Today we're gonna be covering the topic of creating a dirt map that looks realistic and you have 100% control over where the dirt is appearing on your model. To demonstrate, we're going to be using the Landall vertical tillage model. Doing this to improve it to more of an FS17 standard, improve the quality of the textures on the model. So we've got everything here, and it is set up according to textures. So each texture is, or each piece is what each texture is. So there's a hitch, mainframe. Each piece is its own texture, which will save you lots of work later on with Substance Painter. Well, more so it'd save you work with Photoshop. So what you want to do is you'd want to export it as, I use OBJ. I've already done it, but it would be selection only, and you select what you want to export. And we'll hop over to Substance Painter. So you go New, select our mesh, which is Landall Dirty Ready. Just a simple name there to make it simple to know which one to pick. And here we have our model. Now it doesn't matter that it doesn't have any material colors because we're just going to simply cover everything. Now to make it easier to see where your dirt is going, I like to drop just a black material on everything. And that just makes it easier to see where your dirt is going, as opposed to painting white on white. It's not the easiest to know what you're painting exactly. Hoping later on to come up with some further tutorials on texturing more than just tutorials are more than just the dirt, where I get into making things look rusty and weathered later on perhaps. But for now, dirt is the main reason I got Substance Painter anyway. We'll start with baskets. Nice and simple at the back. So we have our 3D image here, which is where I traditionally paint on, but you also have your 2D image, and that will show you what your texture is coming out as. I like to use the simple dirt brush, turn down the flow. It's usually something around 50 for this, maybe for the first layer. And just go to town, covering everything with dirt. For the baskets, it's not too particular, since they're obviously in the ground. They're just going to be dirty no matter what. They're going to be covered in dirt. So it's not too particular here how everything's done. You just kind of want it to all be kind of generally white. You'll notice that it's a little streaky there. I'm actually going to turn it just to 3D only for a better view for you guys. Make it a little bigger, higher quality. So yeah, when you're painting on something, it actually hides everything else in the scene, which I'm stuck here. Makes it quite handy. To see where you're painting, because as you can tell on a model complex as this, it would be quite easy to get lost in among all the pieces of the model. And so that looks good for the baskets. Discs as well will be fairly dirty. Now the way I UV mapped this, the reason I mapped it this way is so that you wouldn't have that uniform look of every disc being identical. This will look much more realistic in the end, with every disk being unique in its dirt map. Which overall I think improves the look of the mod significantly. Same with the tires, they're actually all done individually on this particular model. Okay, we should be able to do the tires now too, because the tires would get quite dirty as well. Now tires are quite easy to streak up, not so easy to fix. So we have alignment, that is, controls how your painting happens. We're going to go with camera, which, as you can see, reduces the amount of blurry streaks on the model. Not perfect, but it definitely improves it. And there's also UV, which can be handy if you're each I don't know what to call them, painting style, I guess alignment, I'll go what they call it, has its own benefits and its own applications. Ugh. The camera is a little bit difficult to get used to in this program. I'm still not doing too well at it. It's like a mix of Blender and Giants Editor in one, and it's quite horrible to have 3 different cameras to try and use. Oop. So we'll get these tires all dirtied up. See, that was not the good angle to go from there for the... Depends what angle you approach everything from and everything. It's a very particular program, but the results are definitely worth it. Don't think I'll be showing them off in this particular video, but we will have another one on what to do with these textures to create your spec map. Alright, wheels, let's shrink the brush down a bit. Can be quite difficult on some objects to make it reduce your smearing, but this also gives you an in-depth look at the detail of this model. Oop, stuck again. Oh wow. Probably should have done this in 2 parts. That would have been probably a better choice. Okay, this works pretty good. Just because I keep getting stuck inside the actual model here. Oh well. Let's go back and get the inside of this gauge wheel here. There we go. Guess it would have saved me some work if I would have made them all the same, but variety, I guess. Is a reason. We're going to try and keep this video below half an hour today, since I haven't got my YouTube account verified yet. Hoping to do so soon. We have a gameplay video recorded, ready to post, but I don't have a phone number at the moment to verify my YouTube account, so I can't post it, unfortunately. One more gauge wheel here. I'm going to go back a little bit to this tire. This thing, you'll definitely know if you're doing this with a model you didn't build, you definitely get to know the model quite well doing textures this way. Let's go to the mainframe now. Now on this machine, it would be throwing dirt off the discs, obviously. So I'm going to try and kind of replicate that with my dirt map. Well, obviously the disc subframe is going to be quite dirty. And everything around it. Really matter that the underneath's dirty? Well, probably not. No one will see it, but that's how the machine would get dirty, I would think. Equipment tends to have dust also along the top. Dust seems to gather up there. Mostly it's a fairly random deal for applying dirt. But it reduces the random dirt join lines at the corners of stuff depending on your UV map, which is common in most, I think just about all tillage models in the game, by the American community for sure. Some of the European guys are a little more advanced than us, but with their dirt. Hopefully we can change that here with this program, and by showing another way to create a good looking dirt map. Basically you want to make the whole model dirty because it actually will come out differently when you go to put it in game, and it comes down to a lot of tweaking in Photoshop on how your dirt will actually look in the game. The Substance Painter application is just so to prevent your random joint lines and that happened with the old ways of making dirt maps, at least for something like tillage tools. For something, for example, the Western Star truck I've already done in here. That I used it to actually control, make a dirt wave on the doors and make it dirtier on the frame and whatnot, where dirt's flying up off the truck as it drives. But overall, a tillage tool is going to be always quite dirty. In the field, whether it be dust or mud, it's going to be dirty. Let's get the hitch here, which texture-wise also includes the hydraulic cylinders. The hitch might not be quite so dirty, but we've already got it there, so. Yes, this model was UV mapped at a time when I wasn't quite as efficient with my UV mapping, but I didn't want to go back and re-UV map it and re-import and re-index the whole mod, so we're just going to do it this way. Mainframe rate flame. I'm not sure what this actually is. Here, I don't remember naming that one, but rate frame. Yeah, by now you should have the basic concept of the workflow of Substance Painter. Basically make everything black and then paint white on it. Now the reason we're using white is because when it comes to making your spec map, you are going to be quite simply, white is dirt. Thus, we paint white on here. That's somewhat what the dirt map will be like in Photoshop. Now in the second video I'm going to do, hopefully upload it today as well, we are going to look at creating a spec map, kind of a Giants-like style, but not, I'm pretty sure it's not the same way they do theirs exactly, but it yields a similar result anyway. You haven't got bored of this yet. Good for you. Congrats. Or maybe it's not good for you. Maybe you just don't have a life. Who knows? But should soon be done this stage of the project. And we'll export textures. Oh, I forgot one step earlier in the video for this part. That's okay, it doesn't matter what part of the process you do it in. It just makes it a little less, creates less files when you export that aren't needed. Oh, I know what the other part is, I think. No, I don't. Or maybe I do. For some reason it appears, I think, that it just made its own extra piece for no reason. I'll just scroll out here. No? Yeah. For some reason that hub is on its own. As you can see, we still have the disks overall are still dirtier than frame. Oh, I think I'm laying it on a little thick there. Okay, we'll start from the bottom. Again. I think it does help overall that if you do it this way from the bottom first, it's kind of throwing your dirt out there, at least for this particular tool. It's throwing the dirt from the perspective it would actually come from when it's working in the field. And does kind of leave some cool dirt streaks there, but we're going to cover those up because they wouldn't look very good in the game. You might say, this looks pretty heavy. Well, actually, believe it or not, the only thing that'll actually look heavy is if it's pure white, and none of this, except maybe the discs, is actually pure white. The first few things we did, the discs, the baskets, and the tires, those are the only things that'll actually show up as being super dirty in Farm Sim if we didn't touch the spec maps at all. So it's a lot of it I just can't teach you with the video. It's just in practice you'll learn to understand based on what it looks like here, how it might look on whatever you're making dirt textures for. Get the wheel scrapers. Okay, it's pretty good. I'm going to go out a little bit here, it seems. Okay. You could go all day just tweaking your textures. Probably. Okay, so now we're done that process. So simply reduce the amount of files that Substance Painter is going to output for us when we export. We just want to keep base color for the dirt map. None of the other files matter. And even for farm sim textures, when you're doing other stuff, it doesn't matter either. There's only one other one that you need to keep, and that's your metallic file. So we'll go export all channels. Document size, I'll have to go check that, what they're supposed to come out as. All these textures are white right now, so that's very helpful. We're gonna have to go find the mod version. And we'll have to open up all our spec maps to see what size they are. Now normally you wouldn't have to do this, but I haven't worked on this for quite some time, so I kind of forget what all my texture sizes are. Okay, so the hitch, everything but the hitch is 2048. Okay, simple enough. So here you want to match your size up to whatever texture size you are using. Just then it will make it easier for you later in Photoshop. And that's exporting just to the standard file. Now you can choose where you're exporting to. I just usually use that file, since once you've put these into your spec map, you can delete them, so it doesn't matter anymore if you still have them. Open folder. So there's all our outputted files. Now I'll just open hitch base. Doesn't look like much, but that is your dirt map. And we'll show you in the next video how to put that to use. And so yeah, see you in the next one.